Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about dynamic blocks. So what exactly dynamic block is? So before going ahead for definition of dynamic block, let's discuss why it is required. Normally in Terraform, whenever we are going to create any resource, we normally provide our values like name and expression, like the name string value, some ABCD or something like that, or we can provide location, resource group name, etc. But we have seen that there are some resources which require nested blocks inside their properties, and those nested blocks repeat itself multiple times. So dynamic blocks are beneficial when we are going to create a resource which has this nested block inside, and we can run that nested block multiple times by iterating on the variables or the locals. So how we are going to implement this dynamic blocks, we can see in the demo. Before that, let's see where we can use this dynamic blocks. So we can use this dynamic block in resource, Terraform data, provider and provisioners blocks. We use for each for iterating over our variables and locals, and we can define multi-level nested block using our dynamic blocks. You can see here in the example that we are defining first dynamic block here for origin group, and then nested dynamic block for origin, and we can hover over, we can iterate over these values inside each nested blocks. But there is best practices mentioned by Hashikov that we should not use too much dynamic block in our code, because if we are going to overuse dynamic block, it can possibly hard to read the code. So if you're going to write, it's fine, you understand the code, but it can be possible that the person who is going to read your code is not able to understand properly. So it's not readable if you are going to use too much dynamic blocks. So this is the theory of dynamic blocks in Terraform. Let's go ahead and start our demo. So before, I have already created three files: main.tf, terraform.tf and variable.tf. In terraform.tf, I am going to define the Terraform blocks. So let me just copy it from the previous. So here I am defining my Terraform block, and the provider is AzureRM. Let me save it. Now in the main.tf, I haven't defined anything, and save it here. It is already saved. And variable, let me open it in the right side, and here we are going to open main. So what we are going to do for dynamic block, we are going to create network security group, and in the network security group we have a nested block called network security rules. So we are going to create multiple rules inside network security group, and with the help of dynamic blocks. So let's search over here documentation. So let's just copy this one, let me paste here. So what we are going to create, we are going to create a resource group, and after resource group we are going to create a network security group name example, but it's not good. I will write like nsg and example dot, it's r, let me give name rg, and here I just add rg just to little bit familiarize with what resource is. And network security rule group name is acceptance. I will write like nsg1. And location, I am using the same location of this one, so it should be rg here, and this should also be rg. And we have one rule right now, which is test 123, and production, I can write production or anything else, doesn't matter. And now let's try to run this code. So what it is going to do, it is going to create our resource group, and then our nsg network security group, and then network security group rule. So it will create only one rule. So quickly terraform apply now. I know we have to run Terraform, we should run Terraform plan first, but I'm just directly running Terraform apply to save time. Okay, so our resource is created. Let me go on Azure portal. going here, refresh. Now finally it is here. So let me go inside our resource group. We can see there is one NSG one is created, and inside NSG I have created one NSG rule, which is test 123 any TCP any. So I am creating this. These are the default rules, so we don't have to worry about them. Now our requirement is that we want to create multiple NSG rules over here without writing this code again and again. So how we can do it? We can do it by defining our locals here. So let me define our locals. In the local, we are going to define this security rule. So let me copy this. Security rule equals, so let me quickly fill up this data. So I have filled up this data with my local and security rule. This is the rule 1 which I am defining under this block, which is allowing inbound port for 1433. This is a SQL port. And then next block is allowing inbound port for 443, which is a TCP port. And then we are allowing outbound port for 443. So this is outbound rule. So these two are inbound rule and this one is outbound rules we are going to create. Now we have defined in the locals and how we are going to define into our main code. So over here, what we are going to do, first of all, we will make this as a dynamic block. So let's write down dynamic and make it in the inverted commas. And inside this one, I will try to iterate. So we will use for each to iterate over our locals. So we can define local security group. Yes, I'm going to iterate over security rule. That means it is having three security rules. So it is going to run 3 times. This nested block is going to run 3 times. And now we have to define these as a dynamic values, so that on each run it will take the value while it is running for that particular block. So for this one, let me write it down: security rule dot value, which value it is going to have on which iteration, and the name, what will be the name over here. And similar condition will be there for others also. So let me quickly just copy paste remaining values. So I have just taken from my previous demo, I have just copy paste everything here. Let me format it properly. So it is formatted. And now here you can see what I am going to do here. I am using dynamic block for my security rule, using for each to iterate over my local variables. And here I am going to write the content which is going to run multiple times. So this is the content which is going to run multiple times. So what we are going to create here in this time, we are going to create a resource group which is already created by the previous Terraform apply, and one NSG which is already created by the Terraform apply. And now we are going to create 3 security rule using our dynamic block. So let me save it. Let's run Terraform validate that our syntax is okay. Yes, it's successful. Now we can run Terraform plan so that we have a proper plan for it, and we can analyze the plan as well. So plan runs successfully, and now you can see here we are just updating one resource which is NSG for sure, because the remaining resource already created. And in the NSG rule, you see I am removing one rule which was previously created when I hard coded all the values, and the name of this is test 123. And removing this, remaining 3 rules will be created. One is this allow outbound port for 443, then one is for out inbound port for 1433, and then inbound port for 443. So this three new rules is getting created, and one rule which was previously created is going to be deleted. So let me run Terraform apply. Okay, so the modification has been done, and I hope these three new rules will be present on our NSG. Let me refresh it, and now you can see we have these three rules created: two inbound rules, 1433 and 443, and one outbound rule for 443. I know it's nothing here, it's any, but I just want to prove my point that this is how you can create multiple NSG rules under single NSG using dynamic block. So let me give you a brief idea once again, finally, that how we are going to use dynamic block. Dynamic block are used when we are going to create any resource, and that resource is having some nested properties. So for example, we are going to create this NSG, and this NSG is having nested property called security rule. So with the help of dynamic block, we are going to run multiple security rules so that we don't have to write these rules again and again, and we can define these rules in our locals, and we can define in the variables also. That's not a problem. And for each, we are going to use to iterate over our locals or variables, and each time we are using this security rule value. Here is the key. So whenever it is running the first time, for example, it is taking this block, and the name will be this one, and priority will be this one, etc., and same for remaining iterations. So each time it will take each block and put all those value over here and try to create new security rule under our NSG. So this is how we can use dynamic block in Terraform. Thank you so much.